Noah and I had been dating for 2 years, and we were getting married next week. Tonight, his friends threw a special pool party to celebrate us. Under the night sky, men and women in their swimsuits swayed their slightly tipsy bodies to the rhythm of the music. At the peak of the party, Noah's first love, Ashley, appeared. No one expected her to show up. It wasn't until Noah roared, "Who the hell invited her?" that the music abruptly stopped. Everyone froze, no one daring to speak. Ashley, her eyes red, said with a sob, "Noah, I have something to tell you." Noah and Ashley's breakup had been a public spectacle. Everyone knew Noah had chased Ashley to Paris on a private jet, trying to win her back, but he still couldn't keep her. Someone, annoyed by Ashley, interjected, "All right, Ashley, stop pretending to be so heartbroken. Noah was practically half dead from how you tormented him back then, and now you." The speaker was dragged away with their mouth covered. The remaining people uniformly turned their gaze to me. Noah suddenly put his arm around my shoulder and pulled me into his embrace. He said to Ashley, "All right, spill it out if you have something to say. My wife is eager to go home and get her beauty sleep." Ashley, holding back tears, walked up to Noah. She held out her hand, palm open. In it was a diamond ring. "This is the ring you gave me when you proposed to me," she said. "You said I had to wear it on the hand of the person you loved most." Ashley glanced at me, then said to Noah, "Now the person you love isn't me anymore, so I should return it to you." Noah stared at the diamond ring in Ashley's palm, and the hand around my shoulder tightened, almost crushing my bones. The next second, he snatched the ring and threw it forcefully. The ring traced an arc in the air before falling into the pool. Ashley shrieked, "My ring," then chased after it like a madwoman, leaping into the water. After a while, someone in the crowd yelled, "I don't think she can swim." The pressure on my shoulder abruptly vanished. I watched Noah rush forward, instinctively reaching out to stop him. "Noah, don't go." But he pushed me away with his backhand, sending me sprawling to the ground. Immediately after, there was a splash. Noah leaped into the pool without hesitation. Ashley was pulled ashore by Noah. Noah was frantic, giving her chest compressions and loudly calling her name. After an unknown number of rescue breaths, Ashley suddenly coughed up water and regained consciousness. Noah breathed a sigh of relief, pulling her into his arms. "Are you out of your mind? Are you trying to kill yourself?" Ashley sobbed in Noah's embrace. "Noah, you still care about me, don't you? Noah, I miss you so much." Noah's heart softened. He picked Ashley up from the ground and turned to walk towards the villa. I called out to him, "Noah." Noah stopped, paused for a few seconds, then, with his back to me, said in front of everyone, "Sophia, I can't let her go. My family and the Hayes family were families with a long history. When we were children, our parents had arranged a childhood betrothal for us. But later, Noah fell for Ashley, and he had a huge falling out with his family over her. If hadn't abandoned Noah to pursue her dreams back then, they would probably be married by now. After their breakup, Noah had gotten engaged to me just to spite Ashley. He didn't like me back then. Later, he was in a car accident and almost became lame. It was I who encouraged him, accompanied him through physical therapy, and helped him through those days of utter despair. On's day, Noah told me he liked me. We began to officially date. He would send me flowers and gifts, and set off a birthday fireworks display for me. There was even a time when I was bullied, and when Noah found out, he almost beat the person to death. But what did it matter? Noah still couldn't let go of Ashley. 2 days later, Noah called me. On the other end, he was silent for a long time before speaking. "Sophia, about us getting married. Can we wait a bit longer?" I, too, was silent for a long time before saying, "No. Noah, I don't want to marry you anymore." The news quickly reached both sets of parents. My phone was ringing off the hook. Robert scolded me harshly, threatening me, "If anything goes wrong with this collaboration with the Hayes family, I won't forgive you. Useless thing. Just as worthless as your dead mother." My mother had passed away 15 years ago. Robert still found reasons to curse at my mother and me, whether there was a reason or not. Noah's mother, Mrs. Margaret, on the other hand, consoled me, "Sophia, I know Noah must have upset you. Don't mind him, I'll certainly give him a good talking to for you." She seemed to know about Ashley. Before hanging up, she specifically emphasized, "Sophia, don't worry, the Hayes family only recognizes you as their daughter-in-law." Noah was always rebellious. Mrs. Margaret couldn't control him. So, at the Hayes annual, he completely disregarded my presence and openly brought Ashley by his side. When I was alone, Ashley came up to talk to me. She showed me the ring on her ring finger. Noah looked for it for a long time in the pool that night. "I'm so glad it's back on my hand." I stared at the diamond ring sparkling under the crystal chandeliers and offered a faint smile. Congratulations. Actually, that night, when Noah was searching for the ring in the pool, I was watching from the floor-to-ceiling window on the second floor of the villa. It rained heavily that night. I watched for as long as Noah searched. Later, when the rain stopped and the ring was found, my heart died too. Ashley glanced at Noah, who was networking in the distance, and asked me, Miss Sophia, do you believe in fate? I certainly do. Just like you stole 2 years of Noah from me, you still couldn't truly enter his heart. All it takes is a little effort from me, and he comes right back. I asked calmly, Ms. Ashley, just say what you mean, no need to beat around the bush. Ashley looked at the tall stack of champagne flutes arranged in front of her and gave me a triumphant smile. There is something I need your help with, Miss Sophia. But before she could say what kind of help she needed, I reached out and pushed her. In an instant, all the champagne flutes, knocked by Ashley, crashed to the floor, spilling champagne all over her. Ashley looked at me in shock. I smiled and said, rather than letting you accuse me of pushing you, I might as well do it myself. It feels more satisfying. Everyone turned around at the sound, their faces filled with astonishment. Noah rushed over, took off his suit jacket, and draped it over Ashley. He turned back and yelled at me, Sophia, are you crazy? I asked Noah, what if I told you Ms. Ashley asked me to push her? Would you believe me? Noah looked at me as if I were insane. The scene froze. Until a man's voice came from behind me, I believe her. Someone nearby was whispering. How did the Hayes family heir suddenly come back from abroad? Right, is he coming back to formally take over the corporation? I turned around and saw Henry, dressed in a black suit, walking towards me. He was Noah's older brother, 6 years his senior. My shoulder felt a slight weight. Henry draped the black trench coat he had slung over his arm onto me. The air conditioning is strong in here. Aren't you worried about getting sick in a strapless gown? I gave him a grateful look. Henry, when did you get back? I had grown up calling him Henry. Even after getting older, I never changed it. He replied in a steady tone, just arrived, came straight from the airport. Ashley had been helped up by Noah at some point. Now she was clinging to him limply, like a person without bones. Henry glanced at Ashley and said to Noah, are you going to keep making a scene here? If anyone in the world could keep Noah in check, it was Henry. Wherever was, the atmosphere was always TE. NSE. To be honest, I was a little afraid of him too. Noah didn't dare talk back. He helped Ashley, and they left in disgrace under everyone's gaze. Henry first greeted Mr. William and Mrs. Margaret. Afterward, he led me away from the gala. A silver-topped extended Maybach was parked in the courtyard of Hawthorne. Henry took an elegant gift box, tied with a pink bow, from the car. This is for you. He lifted one corner of his lip, a smile in his voice. I took the gift box he offered with both hands and eagerly unwrapped it. Inside was the pair of dance shoes I had admired abroad. For various reasons, I had never been able to buy them. I had regretted it for a long time. He asked, do you like them? I wasn't sure if it was the strong wind outside, but my eyes felt a little sore. I hugged the dance shoes and nodded vigorously. I love them. Henry's steady voice held a gentle warmth. Happy birthday. My heart felt as if something had violently struck it. I had thought no one remembered it was my birthday today. Thank you, Henry. He pulled a cigarette from his custom cigarette case and lit it. I know all about Noah and that woman. As brother, I apologize to you on his behalf. I shook my head. He is him, and you are you. They're two different things. Henry exhaled a puff of smoke, looking at me through the hazy gray. The little girl has grown up. Your words are different now. He flicked the ash from his cigarette, his eyes, shadowed by the streetlights, unreadable. He suddenly asked me, do you want to get back at Noah? My mouth moved faster than my brain. How would I get back at him? Just then, Noah emerged from the gala ballroom, standing at the entrance of Hawthorne, calling out, Sophia. I turned my head at the sound. Almost simultaneously, a hand clasped my waist. Henry pulled me into his embrace, his broad palm cupping the back of my neck, forcing my head up to meet his gaze. Our breaths mingled. I smelled the scent of tobacco on his breath. He leaned his face close to mine, our noses almost touching. I'll show you how. The next second, Henry lowered his face and kissed me almost savagely. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Noah sprinting towards us like a madman, but gave him no chance, pulling me into the car and ordering the driver, drive. In the rearview mirror, I saw Noah running after the car. Eventually, Ashley caught up from a distance and stopped him. As the car sped up, Noah and Ashley's figures grew smaller and smaller until they completely vanished around the corner. Henry asked me, satisfied? I nodded, admitting, that felt pretty good. But, Henry, I turned to him, you shouldn't have done that. I know you wanted to get back at him for me, but if people saw us, it would create a bad impression. They might misunderstand and think you liked me. Henry suddenly looked up at me. The orange glow of the streetlights outside the car window streamed in, flickering across his handsome face, making me momentarily disoriented. His voice sounded steady, yet held an inscrutable emotion. Misunderstand what about me? His gaze made me feel a little uncomfortable, and my words stumbled. Misunderstand. That you and I have some kind of improper relationship. Improper relationship, Henry repeated, word for word, his brow furrowed, a hint of helplessness in his eyes. Henry drove me home. The moment I walked through the door, Robert, with a darkened face, slapped me, catching me completely off guard. He pointed a finger at my nose and yelled, "You've completely shamed the Roberts family. Your own fiancé parades around with another woman, and you don't even dare to utter a peep. What good are you? Useless thing. Just as worthless as your dead mother." My mother had passed away 15 years ago. Robert still found reasons to curse at my mother and me, whether there was a reason or not. Evelyn, on the other hand, consoled me, "Sophia, I know Noah must have upset you. Don't mind him, I'll certainly give him a good talking to for you." She seemed to know about Ashley. Before hanging up, she specifically emphasized, "Sophia, don't worry, the Hayes family only recognizes you as their daughter-in-law. Noah was always rebellious. Mrs. Margaret couldn't control him. So, at the Hayes annual, he completely disregarded my presence and openly brought Ashley by his side. When I was alone, Ashley came up to talk to me. She showed me the ring on her ring finger. Noah looked for it for a long time in the pool that night. I'm so glad it's back on my hand." I stared at the diamond ring sparkling under the crystal chandeliers and offered a faint smile. "Congratulations." Actually, that night, when Noah was searching for the ring in the pool, I was watching from the floor-to-ceiling window on the second floor of the villa. It rained heavily that night. I watched for as long as Noah searched. Later, when the rain stopped and the ring was found, my heart died too. Ashley glanced at Noah, who was networking in the distance, and asked me, "Miss Sophia, do you believe in fate?" "I certainly do. Just like you stole 2 years of Noah from me, you still couldn't truly enter his heart. All it takes is a little effort from me, and he comes right back." I asked calmly, "Ms. Ashley, just say what you mean, no need to beat around the bush." Ashley looked at the tall stack of champagne flutes arranged in front of her and gave me a triumphant smile. "There is something I need your help with, Miss Sophia." But before she could say what kind of help she needed, I reached out and pushed her. In an instant, all the champagne flutes, knocked by Ashley, crashed to the floor, spilling champagne all over her. Ashley looked at me in shock. I smiled and said, "Rather than letting you accuse me of pushing you, I might as well do it myself. It feels more satisfying." Everyone turned around at the sound, their faces filled with astonishment. Noah rushed over, took off his suit jacket, and draped it over Ash. He turned back and yelled at me, "Sophia, are you crazy?" I asked Noah, "What if I told you Ms. Ashley asked me to push her? Would you believe me?" Noah looked at me as if I were insane. The scene froze. Until a man's voice came from behind me, "I believe her." Someone nearby was whispering, "How did the Hayes family heir suddenly come back from abroad?" "Right, is he coming back to formally take over the corporation?" I turned around and saw Henry, dressed in a black suit, walking towards me. He was Noah's older brother, 6 years his senior. My shoulder felt a slight weight. Henry draped the black trench coat he had slung over his arm onto me. "The air conditioning is strong in here. Aren't you worried about getting sick in a strapless gown?" I gave him a grateful look. "Henry, when did you get back?" I had grown up calling him Henry. Even after getting older, I never changed it. He replied in a steady tone, "Just arrived, came straight from the airport." Ashley had been helped up by Noah at some point. Now she was clinging to him limply, like a person without bones. Henry glanced at Ashley and said to Noah, "Are you going to keep making a scene here?" If anyone in the world could keep Noah in check, it was Henry. Wherever was, the atmosphere was always tense. To be honest, I was a little afraid of him too. Noah didn't dare talk back. He helped Ashley, and they left in disgrace under everyone's gaze. Henry first greeted Mr. William and Mrs. Margaret. Afterward, he led me away from the gala. A silver-topped extended Maybach was parked in the courtyard of Hawthorne. Henry took an elegant gift box, tied with a pink bow, from the car. "This is for you." He lifted one corner of his lip, a smile in his voice. I took the gift box he offered with both hands and eagerly unwrapped it. Inside was the pair of dance shoes I had admired abroad. For various reasons, I had never been able to buy them. I had regretted it for a long time. He asked, "Do you like them?" I wasn't sure if it was the strong wind outside, but my eyes felt a little sore. I hugged the dance shoes and nodded vigorously. "I love them." Henry's steady voice held a gentle warmth. "Happy birthday." My heart felt as if something had violently struck it. I had thought no one remembered it was my birthday today. "Thank you, Henry." He pulled a cigarette from his custom cigarette case and lit it. "I know all about Noah and that woman. As brother, I apologize to you on his behalf." I shook my head. "He is him, and you are you. They're two different things." Henry exhaled a puff of smoke, looking at me through the hazy gray. "The little girl has grown up. Your words are different now." He flicked the ash from his cigarette, his eyes, shadowed by the streetlights, unreadable. He suddenly asked me, "Do you want to get back at Noah?" My mouth moved faster than my brain. How would I get back at him? Just then, Noah emerged from the gala ballroom, standing at the entrance of Hawthorne, calling out, "Sophia." I turned my head at the sound. Almost simultaneously, a hand clasped my waist. Henry pulled me into his embrace, his broad palm cupping the back of my neck, forcing my head up to meet his gaze. Our breaths mingled. I smelled the scent of tobacco on his breath. He leaned his face close to mine, our noses almost touching. "I'll show you how." The next second, Henry lowered his face and kissed me almost savagely. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Noah sprinting towards us like a madman, but gave him no chance, pulling me into the car and ordering the driver, "Drive." In the rearview mirror, I saw Noah running after the car. Eventually, Ashley caught up from a distance and stopped him. As the car sped up, Noah and Ashley's figures grew smaller and smaller until they completely vanished around the corner. Henry asked me, "Satisfied?" I nodded, admitting, that felt pretty good. "But, Henry," I turned to him, "you shouldn't have done that. I know you wanted to get back at him for me, but if people saw us, it would create a bad impression. They might misunderstand and think you liked me." Henry suddenly looked up at me. The orange glow of the streetlights outside the car window streamed in, flickering across his handsome face, making me momentarily disoriented. His voice sounded steady, yet held an inscrutable emotion. "Misunderstand what about me?" His gaze made me feel a little uncomfortable, and my words stumbled. "Misunderstand that you and I have some kind of improper relationship." "Improper relationship," Henry repeated, word for word, his brow furrowed, a hint of helplessness in his eyes. Henry drove me home. The moment I walked through the door, Robert, with a darkened face, slapped me, catching me completely off guard. He pointed a finger at my nose and yelled, "You've completely shamed the Roberts family. Your own fiancé parades around with another woman, and you don't even dare to utter a peep. What good are you? Useless thing. Just as worthless as your dead mother." I pressed my tongue against my numb right cheek and sneered, "So from now on, you'd better not expect anything from me. I'll only cause you trouble." Robert, fuming, clutched his chest. Evelyn rushed over to support him, chiming in, "Oh dear, what nonsense are you spouting? Do you know how hard your father works to support this family? You don't even care about him." I didn't indulge Evelyn either, retorting, "If you care about him so much, then let your daughter marry into the Hayes family." "Oh, right. I almost forgot. Your daughter tried to seduce a rich second-generation heir last time. She didn't manage to marry into wealth, ended up pregnant, and was then abandoned after having an abortion. Her reputation is ruined. The Hayes family wouldn't even consider her." Evelyn was enraged and glared at me. "You little slut, what nonsense are you spouting?" I chuckled. "Aren't I just stating facts? And you married into this family pregnant before even 100 days passed since my mother's death. Were you that impatient? Your daughter deserves what she got. Like mother, like daughter." Robert's face completely darkened. Evelyn even lunged at me to hit me, but she was interrupted by the doorbell. The housekeeper said, "Mr. Henry is here." Henry noticed the unusual atmosphere in the house the moment he stepped inside. Robert forced a smile. "Henry, you're here." Evelyn desperately tried to act virtuous. "Mr. Henry, have you eaten, coming at this hour?" Only I stood there with my head bowed, not wanting him to see the slap mark on my face. I was too embarrassed. After brushed them off with a few words, he said to me, "Sophia, you left something in my car. Would you mind coming out to get it?" I followed Henry outside. He stood by the villa entrance, handing me a bag tied with a pink bow. "Your dance shoes were left in the car." Afraid he might think I didn't appreciate the gift, I quickly explained, "Sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just in too much of a hurry getting out of the car and accidentally forgot them." He, however, answered with a question of his own. Does your face still hurt? It was then that I realized he had already carried the dance shoes inside. He had found an excuse to call me out, clearly with another intention. I stopped trying to hide it. Shaking my head, I forced a smile and said, I'm fine. Henry remained impassive, yet it was as if he saw right through everything. Sophia, you don't have to pretend to be strong around me. You can trust me. I'll have a word with Mr. Robert. Robert had lost a lot of money in business these past few years and was now desperate to curry favor with the Hayes family, especially Henry, the heir. If asked him to treat me better, Robert would definitely agree. But I still refused. Henry, I appreciate your kindness, but I don't want to cause you any more trouble. I can handle this myself. Henry spoke in a deep voice. Sophia, I want you to know that you are not a bother, and I'm not afraid of trouble. His tone was soft, yet I felt a tightening in my chest. The next morning, I showed up for rehearsal at the Metropolis Company on time. By the end of the month, the company was to select the most outstanding dancer to represent the entire Metropolis Company in a competition in Paris, aiming for the most prestigious stage. This was my dream. I had worked tirelessly for 3 years for this, determined to win. Unexpectedly, Ashley suddenly appeared out of nowhere. When Eleanor announced that Ashley was officially joining the Metropolis Company today and would also be participating in this selection competition, my mind went blank with a jolt. Ashley introduced herself to everyone. She smiled demurely. As a newcomer, I hope you'll all be kind to me. To show my sincerity, my boyfriend and I are treating everyone to dinner tonight at the bistro. As she spoke, she deliberately glanced at me several times, looking quite pleased with herself. Others clapped while whispering, that restaurant is only for the rich and powerful. I can't believe this girl has such connections. I also heard the bistro only serves VIPs. If you're not worth tens of millions, you can't even get in. Looks like her boyfriend is really wealthy. Before the chatter even died down, invitations were already passed into everyone's hands. I opened one and saw Ashley, Noah written at the bottom. Someone exclaimed, Ashley, your boyfriend's name is Noah? What a coincidence. Sophia, the star dancer of our company, also has a boyfriend named Noah. Instantly, everyone's gaze turned to me. But what a coincidence it was. When attended the dinner party with Ashley, the entire room fell silent. The private dining room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Everyone had a look of astonishment on their faces, as if watching a drama unfold. No one dared to make a sound. It was director who finally asked, Sophia, what's going on here? I openly admitted, Noah and I have broken up. Now, he is Ms. Ashley's boyfriend. After saying that, I stood up from my chair and said with a smile, please excuse me, everyone. I need to use the restroom. When I came out of the restroom, Noah blocked my path. He asked bluntly, when did things start between you and my brother? You've been seeing him behind my back all along, haven't you? I was so annoyed I almost laughed. Noah, are you insane? I tried to walk around him, not wanting to get entangled, but he seized my wrist. Noah's grip was strong. He pulled me back. Being kissed by my brother, did you enjoy it? Sophia, do you have to be so despicable? I was furious and raised my hand to hit him, but he blocked it. He grabbed both my wrists, pinning me against the wall. His eyes filled with such loathing he looked like he wanted to devour me. I should have known your Robert's family members are the most shameless. Your sister secretly tried to seduce me back then, and now you're seducing my brother behind my back. You really do follow the same pattern. Sophia, if Ashley hadn't left me back then, do you think I would have agreed to get engaged to you? My being with you was just to spite Ashley. Now that Ashley's back, you mean absolutely nothing to me. Even though I had already given up hope, his words still hammered hard in my heart, one after another. Unable to break free, I simply stomped hard on Noah's foot. You and Ashley are truly a perfect match. You should stick together forever. Taking advantage of Noah's pain, I shoved him away. Behind me, he yelled angrily, limping, Sophia, don't be naive. My brother already has a fiancé, he's just playing with you. I returned to the private room door, which was open. Ashley was chatting with the people inside, saying that her return to the US this time was solely for the competition spot at the Metropolis Company, and she was determined to get it. She also said she was Noah's first love, and they had broken up due to a misunderstanding back then. The moment she returned to the US, Noah couldn't wait to reconcile with her, and he had already proposed to her. Someone asked what misunderstanding had led to their breakup back then. Ashley implicitly suggested to everyone that it was because of a third party. So, when I entered, everyone looked at me with eyes that condemned a homewrecker. But I didn't care. For some reason, at that moment, all I could think about was Noah's phrase, "My brother already has a fiancé, he's just playing with you." At night, Metropolis was lit up with neon lights, and traffic flowed like a river. Among the towering skyscrapers, a 72-story white building lay like a silver dragon in the very center of the business district. In the top-floor office, Henry had just finished a transnational video conference, feeling a bit tired, and casually lit a cigarette. His secretary knocked and came in to report, "The person sent to deliver the umbrella to Miss Sophia has returned. He said the Metropolis company has a dinner gathering tonight, and Miss Sophia isn't there. The ones hosting the dinner are Noah and Ashley." Henry flicked the ash from his cigarette and asked, "Who did you say?" The secretary explained, "Ashley officially joined the Metropolis company today. Noah paid to pave the way for her. Tonight, they are hosting dinner for the entire company as a couple at the bistro." Before the secretary finished speaking, Henry had already stubbed out his cigarette in the ashtray filled with white pebbles beside him and walked quickly out. The secretary chased after him, asking, "Mr. Henry, what about the finance department meeting in 10 minutes? Henry stated sharply, "Cancel it. Call George and tell him to wait at the entrance." Uncle was almost 60 this year and had been with Henry since he was a child, serving as both his driver and butler. By the time Henry came out, the Maybach was already parked at the building's entrance. While waiting at a traffic light, Uncle glanced in the rearview mirror. Henry was resting his eyes, but his brows were tightly furrowed. He said, "Only Sophia could make you rush like this. Last time, you were also in such a hurry to get back in time to give Miss Sophia her birthday gift." Henry rubbed his temples and said nonchalantly, "You really are getting better at talking the older you get." By the time dinner ended, it was already 9 in the evening. It was raining outside. Everyone from the company stood by the restaurant entrance, sheltering from the rain, some calling cabs, others waiting for rides. Ashley, arm in arm with Noah, generously offered me, "Miss Sophia, let us give you a ride." Noah also wore a playful smile. Just then, someone suddenly exclaimed, "Wow, that car is beautiful." I turned my head to look in the direction of the sound, and it was Henry's silver-topped Maybach, slowly pulling to a stop by the roadside. The driver got out of the car, holding a black umbrella. He jogged over and opened the back passenger door. Henry, grabbing his suit jacket with one hand, got out of the car, taking the black umbrella from the driver, and walked towards us. A young girl beside me kept exclaiming excitedly, "Wow, he's so handsome." In front of everyone, Henry draped his suit jacket over my shoulders. "Come on, I'll take you home." He put his arm around my shoulder, shielding me under the umbrella. He, however, had most of his body exposed to the rain, getting soaked. I saw Noah clench his fists, but he didn't dare to speak. They had driven quite a distance before I snapped out of it. I asked Henry in surprise, "How did you know I was here?" Henry gave a casual laugh. "I happened to be passing by the Metropolis company and heard you all were having dinner here tonight, so I came to try my luck." The rain grew heavier, and the wiper swung back and forth across the windshield. The neon lights on the street became increasingly blurry. Henry suddenly asked me, "Sophia, do you still like Noah?" He had asked me that before. It was probably one Chinese year, when Noah and I had just gotten engaged, and Henry had returned from abroad for the holidays. My answer then had been, "Yes, I do." Because was the first person to give me a lollipop and offer me comfort when I was most helpless, the year my mother passed away. But tonight, watching the raindrops fall in orderly patterns on the car window, I firmly shook my head. "No, I don't." I pulled my gaze away from the window, turned to Henry, and said calmly and earnestly, "But I also won't like someone who has a fiancé." Henry always seemed to appear coincidentally like this, stepping up for me time and again. I wasn't foolish. Even though Henry was exceptionally capable, my self-respect wouldn't allow me to play dumb, to willingly stoop so low as to become a mistress with no status. Henry frowned. "What fiancé? Who has a fiancé?" I was a bit confused by his questions. "Noah said you already have a fi." Henry interrupted me, stating directly, "No." He said concisely, "No one decides my marriage but me. I have to agree to it myself. So, Sophia." When he called my name, my heart skipped a beat. "You can consider it." I asked, "Consider what?" Henry's gaze was like the deepest lake, brimming with affection, so full it seemed about to overflow. "Consider me." Because of Henry's words, "Consider me," I couldn't sleep all night, my heart pounding. I hadn't been this nervous even when I got engaged to Noah. It was almost dawn before I finally managed to sleep for a bit. By the time I arrived at the Metropolis company the next day, it was already noon, and I ran into Ashley in the locker room. She had just finished practicing, and there was still sweat on her forehead. She initiated a conversation with me. I hear Ms. Sophia is very serious about this competition. Coincidentally, so am I. As I took off my jacket, I replied, then let the best person win. Ashley took a sip of water, then chuckled softly beside me. Sophia, just give up. Don't chase after what isn't yours. She said triumphantly, let me tell you, my being able to join the Metropolis Company and participate in this selection competition is all thanks to Noah's support. He donated $2 million to the company, which is why director values me so much and promised me that I would represent the company in the Paris competition. So, whether it's Noah or the competition spot, they're both mine. I ignored her, and after putting on my dance shoes, I locked my locker. I smiled at Ashley. Don't be so quick to claim victory. It's not over until it's over. As I walked past Ashley, she sneered at me. You don't actually think that hooking up with Henry means all your worries are gone, do you? Do I need to remind you, Henry is the heir to Hayes. His intended partner will certainly be from a prestigious family, not a woman from a declining family like yours. I turned back with a smile and retorted, do you think everyone is like you, only capable of relying on men? With that, I walked towards the door. Ashley called out from behind me, Sophia, do you know why Noah doesn't like you? Because your arrogance is truly repulsive. No man would ever like someone like you. When came out of his office, Uncle was waiting at the door. He followed Henry into the elevator and told him about Noah donating money for Ashley, adding that the company would most likely unofficially award the competition spot to Ashley. Henry knew Sophia's greatest wish was to perform on the Paris stage. With one hand in his pocket, he waved the other at Uncle. Send someone to intervene, but don't let Sophia know. But no sooner had they exited the elevator than Henry regretted it. He stopped Uncle. Don't interfere for now. Let's wait and see. He understood Sophia. Doing that would make her feel like she won unfairly. Even though it was a small matter for him, just a word, he didn't want Sophia to misunderstand him. He believed in Sophia's abilities and respected her. They slowly pulled away from the building entrance, merging into the main road with the traffic. Uncle saw Henry's gaze drifting out the car window, deep in thought, and asked, are we going directly to the airport, or should we stop by the Metropolis Company to say hello to Miss Sophia first? After all, this business trip will take at least 2 weeks. Henry pulled a cigarette from his custom cigarette case, holding it in his hand and toying with it. Ever since that night he told Sophia to consider him, Sophia hadn't contacted him again. He also worried his actions might have been too rash and scared her. To the airport. Henry lit the cigarette, took a deep drag, and said, looking down, the competition is at the end of the month. Don't bother her, let her focus on her training. It was a week later when I received another call from Henry. I had just finished training and was about to shower. My phone vibrated continuously in my hand. I stared at the name Henry on the screen, and my heart sped up. Hello? My voice was soft. I tried my best to sound calm. On the other end, Henry waved his hand, dismissing the person who was reporting, and motioned for them to leave the office first. He got up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, a cigarette dangling from the corner of his mouth. What's with the social media post? Is someone sick? He had been swamped with work all day, completely overwhelmed. Just a moment ago, he casually opened his text messages and saw Sophia's social media post asking for an imported medicine. He couldn't sit still. What social media post? Before I could finish, I realized. You mean the one asking for medicine? That was for a young girl at the Metropolis Company. Her father is sick and urgently needs this medicine, so I just helped share the post. Henry breathed a sigh of relief. He exhaled a puff of smoke, then asked, is your training going well? The preliminary round is in 3 days. Are you confident? I leaned against the corner of the dance studio wall, twisting a bottle cap with one hand. It's going quite well, I'm fairly confident. How about you? Are the negotiations going smoothly? Henry had texted me before, so I knew he was abroad. It's fine, wrapping things up. I hummed, drawing out the sound. After finishing my water, I hugged the cup and tentatively asked, will you be able to make it back for my competition? Henry chuckled softly, his breathy voice asking me, do you want me to come back? My fingernails dug hard into the side of the cup. Biting my lip, I whispered, yes. Henry's Adam's apple bobbed several times before he finally steadied his breathing. Wait for me. But on the day of my competition, Henry broke his promise. Instead, Noah sat in the audience, cheering on Ashley. So even when Ashley made a wrong move and then 2 consecutive mistakes, director pretended not to notice, leading to praise for Ashley's strong foundation. After my performance, director did praise me, saying, Sophia's performance was as stable as ever, still so good. However, she raised her hand to adjust the glasses on her nose, feigning difficulty. Based on today's performance, our judging panel unanimously agrees that Ashley's stage presence was superior. Therefore, the result of this preliminary round is that Ashley wins. The audience erupted in thunderous applause, all swayed by money. While changing in the backstage, Ashley said to me, Sophia, I told you, you can't compete with me. I took a deep breath and smiled calmly. Today was just the preliminary round. How can you be so sure I won't turn the tables in the finals? It was easy to say that, but I also knew that money talks. By the time I left the Metropolis company, the sun had already set, piercing through the clouds to form a fiery sunset across the horizon. I walked aimlessly along the roadside. I walked through the crowded people and onto the pedestrian overpass. Unexpectedly, on the other side of the overpass, I saw Henry. The bridge was bustling with people hurrying home from work. Below, traffic streamed by, and the lingering glow of the sunset shimmered brilliantly on the road. Watching, dressed in a linen suit, walked towards me, my steps involuntarily halted. He stopped in front of me and immediately apologized. Sophia, I'm sorry. My flight encountered a thunderstorm, and I had to travel through 3 cities just to make it back. But I still missed your competition, and I'm truly regretful. My mood was clearly very low, but after seeing Henry, it improved significantly. I even managed to joke, it's fine that you missed it. I lost anyway, so there was nothing worth seeing. Henry furrowed his brow slightly. He suddenly stepped forward and gently embraced me. Sophia, if you're sad, you can tell me. I'm here to listen. My eyelashes fluttered slightly, and my nose stung. In his arms, I lowered my head, and tears silently fell. Henry, I'm not reconciled. Henry patted my back. Then win it back. Sophia, I'm certain you can stand on the Paris stage through your own merit. I believe in you. On the way home, Henry drove me. I asked him how he found me. Henry said he had been following me all the way from the Metropolis company entrance. I asked Uncle to stop the car at the intersection 1 street away from my house. Henry looked down at me. Why won't you let me drop you off at your doorstep? Because I don't want Robert and Evelyn to see us together. They'll bother you. Together? Henry certainly knew how to focus on the key points. It was then that I realized my words sounded a bit too suggestive. I quickly explained, that's not what I meant. I just meant it's better to avoid unnecessary trouble, so they don't bother you. Henry couldn't help but smile. If it's trouble that comes from being with you, I'm more than happy to have it. His words made me blush. I turned my head and got out of the car. Henry also followed, catching my wrist. Get some rest tonight. Do. And overthink things. If you really can't sleep, just call me. I frowned. What would I call you for? I'll tell you a bedtime story and lull you to sleep. Henry's words held a hint of detached amusement, but his gaze was filled with affection. I was suddenly speechless. Not far from my house, Noah suddenly stepped out from behind a large tree, startling me. I almost threw the bag I was carrying right at his face. Noah said sarcastically, so you are with my brother after all. So had seen Henry drop me off. It's got nothing to do with you. I gripped my bag, about to leave, but Noah grabbed my arm. He yelled at me, you can be with anyone. Anyone but Henry. I forbid you from being with him. I pushed him away. Why not Henry? Just because he's better than you? Noah, you can't stand the thought of a woman you discarded being loved by someone better than you, can you? Do you think I should have cried my eyes out after you left me, mourning you endlessly, then begging you to take me back and love me every other day? Is that what you expected? My voice trembled with emotion as I vented my frustration at Noah. Noah stared at me, his face filled with disbelief. Sophia, you've changed. You never used to speak to me like that. I scoffed. I haven't changed at all. You just never truly knew me. A hint of malice gathered in Noah's eyes. Sophia, don't flatter yourself. Take today's preliminary competition, for instance. My brother could have easily changed the outcome with just a word, letting you win effortlessly, but he didn't. Do you know why? Because you don't hold that much significance to him. You're just a plaything he keeps around when he's lonely, no different than a pet. I asked Noah, so what? What's your point, coming here in the middle of the night to tell me all this? Noah, don't tell me you're jealous of Henry. Noah scoffed dramatically, as if I had hit a nerve, and stared at me with an incredulous look. Sophia, stop being so conceited. Me here to tell you that I'm going to make sure Ashley gets the chance to go to Paris. You're going to lose. The day before the final competition, Henry made a phone call. It was to Andrew, who had just flown in from Paris to serve as a judge for the finals of the various Metropolis Company competitions in the US. Andrew was a 40-year-old Frenchman who spoke excellent Chinese. Henry and he were old acquaintances. Andrew was surprised to receive Henry's call. After they exchanged pleasantries, Henry got straight to the point. "Andrew, I'm calling because I need a favor." Andrew chuckled, asking, "I'm curious, what could be so important that it warrants a call from you?" Henry poured himself a whiskey and leaned back on the sofa, recounting to Andrew some details about Sophia and the Metropolis Company. Andrew was furious after hearing it all. He detested injustice more than anything, but emphasized, "Andrew, all I ask is for you to be fair and impartial in judging this final. Use your professional judgment and attitude to select the most outstanding dancer, uninfluenced by any other factors. If you think Sophia is good, then choose her. If you don't think she meets your standards, there's no need to make an exception for her just because of me. That would be an insult to her." As they were hanging up, Andrew asked curiously, "What's your relationship with Miss Sophia? You seem very invested." Henry replied candidly, "The kind of relationship where we plan to spend our lives together." On the day of the finals, Henry texted me, saying he had arrived and was seated in the second-floor audience. He had deliberately chosen the least conspicuous spot. Yet, as soon as I stepped onto the stage, I recognized him in the crowd instantly. I tried to calm my racing heart, lowering my gaze to compose myself. As the music began, I lightly tapped my toes, dancing like a wisp of fine silk floating in the air. Every movement was fluid and precise, narrating the beautiful story within. The music to the audience. My heart felt like that of the heroine in a story, hoping the male lead would witness her most enchanting dance. When the music ended, I bowed to the audience in gratitude. A thunderous applause erupted from below. In the judges' panel, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed French man suddenly stood up, applauding enthusiastically for me. "Perfect." He lavished praise on director next to him. "Your dance company truly has hidden talents." That was magnificent. I haven't seen such an excellent and talented dancer in years. He eagerly asked me, "What's your name?" I caught my breath. "Sophia." His eyes lit up, and he looked at me with a surprised expression, saying meaningfully, "Sophia, I'll remember you. Let me introduce myself, my name is Andrew." Later, Andrew even sent Henry a message, "Your girlfriend is truly remarkable, as outstanding as you are." Ashley was the final act. While she was dancing, I stood in the waiting area, watching director animatedly introduce her to Andrew. But unfortunately, Andrew wasn't impressed by Ashley's dance. His critique was passable, but lacking originality. Ashley almost stumbled on stage in anger after hearing that. Andrew was sent from Paris and held absolute authority, so director naturally had to show him respect. The final outcome was predictable. I won. Andrew personally handed me the competition invitation. I would represent the Metropolis Company, go to Paris to participate in the international ballet competition, and dance on that ultimate stage for the whole world to see. When I had changed and came out from backstage to the audience area, Henry was nowhere to be found. I called him. "Did you already leave?" Henry chuckled, "No. I'm waiting for you at B3. I immediately turned and rushed towards the elevators, saying anxiously, "I'll be right down. Don't move from there." While waiting for the elevator, Noah appeared again. This time, he didn't mock me. Instead, he complimented, "You danced beautiful." Why today, like a white swan, truly radiant on stage. As I watched the numbers flash on the elevator display, I dismissively replied, "Thanks for the compliment. But you should save those words for Ashley." Finally, the elevator doors opened, and I rushed inside impatiently, but blocked my way. He grabbed my wrist, looking at me with an expression that was both familiar and strangely unfamiliar. "Sophia, if I leave Ashley, would you still be willing to come back to me?" I frowned. "Noah, are you out of your mind?" He was about to say more, still pulling at me, when Ashley, who had followed us, yanked him back. "Noah, what are you doing? Did you see Miss Sophia shining on stage and regret being with me?" I didn't have time to deal with their nonsense. Seizing the opportunity, I shook Noah off and dashed into the elevator. My heart felt like it had been thrown into boiling water, bubbling intensely. At that moment, my desire to see Henry had reached its peak. So the instant the elevator doors opened, I followed my heart and ran straight towards Henry. He was standing by his car, smoking. Seeing me run towards him, he opened his arms almost simultaneously, catching me firmly in his embrace. I couldn't wait to share my news with him. Holding him tight, I laughed. "Henry, I won." Henry ruffled my hair. "I know. He gently set me upright, his eyes as bright as stars. I'm taking you somewhere. I hadn't expected Henry to take me to a concert. And it was my favorite orchestra. 2 months ago, when the orchestra toured the US, I was out of town and couldn't make it back in time, regretfully missing their performance. But hadn't they already left for tours in other countries? Why would they suddenly return to the US? It wasn't until the concert ended, and the orchestra members stood in a line on stage, that they publicly announced, tonight's concert was performed especially for Miss Sophia. Then, a spotlight shone down from above me. 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed flower child ran together, carried a bouquet of vibrant pink roses. They ran up to me, smiling innocently, and said in halting Chinese, "Congratulations, sister, on winning the finals." I joyfully accepted the bouquet from their hands, marveling at their cuteness. I genuinely thanked them, "Thank you." Someone on stage, holding a microphone, said, "All ticket proceeds from tonight's performance will be freely donated to children from underserved communities in Miss Sophia's name. And we also thank Mr. Henry for his generous sponsorship." With that, tonight's performance concludes successfully. The entire hall erupted in applause. Henry and I stood in the center of the audience, watched by thousands. I looked at him, too overwhelmed to speak. The dazzling stage lights shone from behind him, bathing him in a golden glow. In his eyes, I saw a girl with a radiant smile. After leaving the theater, we went to Riverfront Park. Cradling the pink roses in my arms, I asked Henry, "How did you know I would win tonight? And preparing such a grand surprise in advance? I'm so overwhelmed." Henry looked at me, speaking each word seriously, "Because I believed you would undoubtedly win. So tonight's concert was specifically to celebrate you." He then exaggerated playfully, "To get them here, I had to pay 3 times their usual fee to convince them to return to the US. So, Miss Sophia, you absolutely must win the championship in Paris to make my efforts worthwhile." I lifted my head, saying proudly, "Deal." Suddenly, with a boom behind me, a cluster of golden fireworks fiercely bloomed in the night sky. Immediately, countless fireworks shot up, vying for brilliance. I looked at the fireworks, then at Henry. "Did you set those off?" Henry shrugged innocently. "Actually, no. But if you like them, I can arrange for more right away." I quickly shook my head. "No, it's a waste of money." Henry curved his lips. "Don't bother saving money for me. I have too much money, I can't spend it all." A month late. I achieved my wish and stepped onto the stage in Paris. While waiting backstage, Henry called to reassure me, "Don't be nervous. I promise I'll be there just in time for your performance." To come see my competition, Henry had started cutting back his schedule 2 weeks in advance, consolidating all his work. In 2 weeks, he had flown to 4 different countries. Finally, an hour ago, he arrived in Paris. Now, he was rushing here by car. I felt a pang of sorrow for him. "Henry, you really didn't need to rush here like this. The competition is being live-streamed online, you could still watch it." Henry chuckled, "That's different. I want to be by your side during the most important moment of your life." He said, each word steady, "Besides, I'm also looking forward to your answer." We had agreed that on the night of my competition, regardless of the outcome, I would give Henry a clear answer. I clutched the phone. "Henry, Before I could finish, I heard a loud bang from the other end of the line, like a violent collision, immediately followed by a crackling noise. Then the call disconnected. "Henry?" A terrible premonition gnawed at me, and I frantically redialed Henry's number, but no one answered. Just as I was on the verge of collapsing, a news flash suddenly appeared on the TV screen. The bridge had suddenly collapsed, causing a severe multi-car pileup, with some vehicles plunging into the river. The fate of those inside was unknown. Rescue teams had already arrived on site and were conducting emergency operations. Citizens were advised to be aware and find alternative routes. My knees buckled, and I had to lean against the wall to keep from falling. I watched the live broadcast on TV. Countless cars crashed into each other, some even hanging precariously from the broken bridge deck, threatening to fall at any moment. Suddenly, my heart twisted as if stabbed, and tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. Just then, a staff member rushed up to me and said, "Sophia, you're next, ready to take the stage." Like a puppet on strings, I was pulled forward by him. But the next second, I violently pulled my hand free, turned, and ran out like a madwoman, completely ignoring the people chasing and shouting behind me. I had to find Henry. On the way to the accident site, I kept calling Henry repeatedly, but I couldn't get through. I kept urging the driver to speed up. But due to the sudden accident, all the surrounding roads were blocked. I had no choice but to get out of the car halfway and run through the crowd like a maniac. I couldn't remember how many people I had bumped into, or how many times I had been knocked down. All I did was keep apologizing. Finally, I reached the site. But police officers were guarding the area, refusing to let me in. Crying, I struggled to communicate with the local police in my clumsy French, begging them to let me through, explaining my loved one was inside. But they couldn't understand me at all. They kept pushing me away, shouting loudly. I cried desperately. Standing on the street, amidst the thronging crowd, I gazed around helplessly, tears streaming down my face. Until I heard Henry call my name, Sophia. I spun around. I saw Henry standing in the crowd, covered in dust, with unfaded blood on his forehead. His legs seemed injured. He stood there, looking somewhat strained. We stood there, a short distance apart, quietly gazing at each other, neither of us speaking. Around us, people ran, shouted, cried loudly, and the lights of police cars and ambulances flashed back and forth. Through all the chaos, I suddenly ran towards him. It was only a few steps, yet it felt as if I was expending all my strength. Henry caught me firmly and steadily. The force of his embrace almost broke my waist. I cupped his face with both hands, examining it carefully. Once I confirmed he only had some superficial scrapes on his forehead, whether out of relief or a pang of sorrow, I cried even hard. He gently stroked my face, wiping away my tears. I looked up at him. It was hard to tell who initiated it, or who was more desperate. We kissed each other without restraint. Later, Henry asked me if I regretted choosing to abandon the competition and run to him that night. I answered unequivocally. I had no regrets. I might have missed the competition this year, but I could go again in 3 years. But if anything had happened to Henry, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. Fortunately, although the car Henry was in had overturned, he had also miraculously survived. Otherwise, he would have plunged off the bridge. Half a month later, Henry had largely recovered and officially brought me home. Mrs. Margaret and Mr. William saw our clasped hands and understood everything instantly. Mr. William said nothing. But Margaret, teary-eyed with emotion, took my hand and said, "Sophia, you're finally my daughter-in-law. Come on, let's pick a date right away before something else happens." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and I looked at Henry for help. But he agreed. I think so too, the sooner, the better. The 3rd week after returning to the country, I went to the Metropolis Company and officially resigned. I planned to establish my own dance studio to prepare for the Paris competition 3 years later. Director tried to persuade me to stay, but I politely declined. While I was tidying up my belongings in the locker room, Ashley arrived. She was also there to clear out her things. "Sophia, you won." I didn't want to get involved with her, so once I was mostly packed, I intended to leave. Ashley followed me and blocked my path. Sophia, Noah, and I broke up. That surprised me a bit, and I couldn't help but mock her slightly. "Don't worry, just cry a little, and he'll soften up. It's different this time." Ashley gave a self-deprecating laugh. "The reason we broke up is because he called out your name when he was drunk. I argued with him, made a scene. And he got tired of it. He confessed to me himself that he regretted it. He said seeing you with Henry made him miserable. He blamed me for ruining things between you two, saying you were originally going to marry him. None of that matters now, and I don't care. Are you done? If so, please move. Henry is waiting for me." Ashley stumbled as I bumped her shoulder, forced to make way, but she still called out to me defiantly, "Sophia, you must be so proud now, with both Hayes brothers crazy for you. How impressive you are." I stopped and looked back at her. I smiled and said, "Well, I owe it all to you. If you hadn't come back and ruined things between Noah and me, I wouldn't have been able to marry the even more exceptional Henry." "Thank you, Ashley." Seeing me exit the Metropolis Company building, Uncle proactively got out of the car and took the storage box from my hands. After getting into the car, I thanked him. He chuckled, "You're too kind, Mrs. Henry." "Mrs. Henry?" I glanced at Henry, who was sitting beside me. A pleased smile on his face, he instructed Uncle, "Raise the privacy partition." Uncle's smile became even more knowing. The privacy partition rose, separating the driver's cabin from the back, creating 2 independent spaces. Henry pulled me into his arms. I straddled his lap. He looked up. I looked down. His thin lips brushed against the corner of my mouth, sending a jolt like an electric current through me, making me tingle all over. "Sophia, I adore you. I've adored you since a very, very long time ago." Before I could fully process his words, Henry's lips were already on mine. His scorching palm pressed against the small of my back, pulling me closer, making my body press more tightly against his. My breathing, along with my heartbeat, became erratic. It wasn't until photos of Henry kissing me in the Maybach were trending on social media, exploding across the internet, that I found out. Only then did I realize. He had done it on purpose. He said it to declare to the world that I was his. Epilogue: Ashley and Noah. After Noah broke up, she somehow managed to sleep with him. Ashley then became pregnant and forced Noah to marry her. They got married but didn't have a wedding. However, Ashley later became involved with another man, and Noah discovered it, only then realizing the child she was carrying wasn't his. They had a terrible fight. When they divorced, Noah was extorted for a large sum of money by Ashley. Not long after, Ashley quickly got married in a whirlwind romance to a wealthy foreigner. But to her surprise, the foreigner was a con artist. He not only squandered all her money but also physically abused her, leading to a miscarriage and permanent infertility. Ashley wanted a divorce. The foreigner refused and, when drunk, broke her leg. Ashley would never be able to dance again in her life. I heard she lived a pretty miserable life. Sophia's epilogue: As my relationship with Henry became public, Robert and Evelyn began to curry favor and ingratiate themselves with me. I knew their schemes all too well, so I moved out of the house ahead of time. Although outwardly we were still Robert's family members, privately, I had cut off all contact with them. I would never let them extend their greedy hands towards Henry. I would never forget that when I was 8, my mother had just passed away, and Robert hastily married Evelyn, who was already pregnant. Out of spite, I ran away from home and was almost sold by human traffickers. I had already reached Central. It was Henry who arrived just in time and rescued me. That day, I cried in his arms for a long time, trembling with fear afterward. Henry, I don't have a mom anymore, and my dad married someone else. I have no home. Henry was only 15 at the time. He stroked my head and said firmly, Sophia, I'll give you a home someday. As an adult, Henry fulfilled his promise. He married me and gave me a home. Much later, after we were married, we were chatting one day. Henry recounted how, as a child, he saw me crying in a corner and went to buy a lollipop to give me, but snatched it and gave it to me first. So, it had been him all along. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.